Okay, welcome back. We are here with another episode of Super Mater Bros podcasting. I am your host for this evening, Jeff Mater, one of the Super Mater Bros, joined by our Survivor correspondent, Josh Foster. Josh, how are you?
Doing well, Jeff. Doing well. How about yourself tonight?
Well, we just finished watching this double tribal 90-minute slog of an episode of episode 7, but it feels like we're on episode 13 of Survivor 45. So I'm you know what tonight it threw me for a loop. It was 9 o'clock. I thought the episode was over, and then I was like, oh, I still got a half an hour more to go with this.
And it was half hour of 2 tribal councils. That was the best part of it.
Yes, yeah. Well, the tribals were actually kind of the same like length that they used to be, but there was 2 of them now. Okay. Like, I mean, the episode could have. The episode could have been much better, but the votes kind of let the viewers down. They kept building up. Oh, it's gonna go to rocks, or oh, there's gonna be this blind side, and just neither really panned out. Tonight we lose Sifu and we lose. It was the second person, but it was it was Caleb, who Caleb became the first member of the jury, but Sifu did not. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, there was. So I don't know how many, because that would leave presumably 8 for the jury if there's 11 left after Sifu.
Right, because it's going to be a final 3. Of course it is.
And
right.
Yeah, and it's funny because I wouldn't have known that unless when we got to the immunity challenge, just because it was D and Kelly that went after it today and for the reward, but they both won immunity. But D, what's it called? Oh, sorry, I just got distracted. Geez, I'm sorry, folks. I got distracted or something, lost my train of thought.
What about D? You were talking about D.
Yeah, I know. Talking about D, I'm trying to. It's just the point I was trying to make. So much that happened tonight, to be honest.
Okay, well, I didn't take notes, but I kind of went from the beginning. We had this kind of, this kind of collateral damage of the whole Caleb vote, where we had this vote where it's the first time I can remember the what's it called, the the safe or not safe role. Caleb ended up playing it, and then everyone comes back to the beach, and Bruce throws what's it, Katura, is that her name?
Yeah,
under the bus, like in front of everybody, who's supposed to be kind of on the same tribe with. And that was kind of like the theme tonight. How much Bruce is is difficult to work with. What did you make of Bruce's move here? Did you think it was smart, stupid, or somewhere in the middle?
Well, he's playing his own game, Jeff. Like he's being, you've noticed that the unless they're not showing it as much, but that goofy uncle kind of act that he had at the beginning, he's not doing that anymore. And he's like, he feels that he's in even though he's paranoid and he should be, right? He's in a position where he, controls the votes for this episode at least, right? But he feels more safe than he should, I think. But that's what kind of they were leading on with the whole back and forth with Kendra and Kelly talking about, should we flip now? But no, we should use him as a shield, which I felt was mentioned a lot tonight. People being shields for each other.
Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of what you do. Like at this point of the merge, you kind of look at like who's going to get voted out and not me, and we'll keep those people around. But at a certain point, you got to get rid of those players because they're going to win if they get to the end with you. So you got to think about it 2 ways. One could say, Josh, that Bruce kind of plays this game full force with his head down, and then he hits his head right into the wood.
You got to get under that first beam, then through the mud. Brandon hits the mud first. There goes Matt.
Yeah, so that's kind of
it's almost like that's all he knows.
It's how he knows how to play this game. You know, you got a twist.
You got a twist.
That's kind of the thing we hear with Bruce is that I think I was watching him a little tonight and I kind of thought to myself, here's a guy, I don't know if this is how he would have played regardless last season or whatever, or how much I feel like he came into this game with like a sense of superiority because he had been through the process of getting on the show already. And then now I just see like, you know, it's like the fun uncle, but it's also like the demeaning uncle. Like he talks down to everybody and he kind of like, you know, right.
Very opinionated.
Yeah, very opinionated, which isn't a bad thing, but like, dude, save that for like the you know, the confessionals. Like he shouldn't be doing that like in his gameplay. It's not a good way to go, especially when you're number one ally. Sam's, you know, new girlfriend is saying, hey, I don't know if I can work with you, you know, but she's like, you know what, I'll keep you around, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting because like Kendra was kind of in the middle there where Kelly is trusted by everyone, and she seems like she's going to be a player that either is going to win it or make it to the final 4 or 5, and the rest of them know that they're not going to be there at the end. She's in a very, very powerful position right now.
You think that Kelly is that liked across the board as far as respected as a, like, you know, like that she would get votes to win? Why? I don't. Tonight was the first time, Josh, I'll be honest, where I really saw her in a confessional. You know, like she's barely been on the show.
I think that what they're not showing though is it seems to me that people have mentioned like how I've never heard someone mention they're in a wrong with Kelly, right? Like she's in no ways. She seems like the most sensible player and someone that everyone wants to work with, because she's like, you know, a straight shooter and she's not, you know, trying to play these games. And I feel that if she gets to, because like this is, you know, even like this first immunity is kind of like her basically her first part of her resume, right? Because what she's done is she's built these friendships or trust with everyone because she hasn't been, you know, opinionated like Bruce or paranoid like Kendra, right? Or you know, you mean like she's kind of flying under the radar in the sense that, you know, everyone can kind of trust her because they know that she's not going to do something drastic right now. So I think that she can make it far. It's just I just don't like. She's going to keep winning. I think she's going to win more than this one immunity. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, like, all right, let's talk a little bit about the immunity challenge. It's the classic stay on a pole for as long as you can on the most painful footholds known to man. I think this challenge almost always favors women, which is actually kind of nice to see that they actually have these endurance challenges that do favor the women a bit more. And I'm glad they didn't do like best man and best woman. Like, I'm glad they didn't do that. Like, I'm glad that the women got a chance to win both challenges here tonight, and they did. And I just think I enjoy these challenges. Now, having said that, 17 minutes, that's weak sauce. That's weak sauce. I mean, I know they've gone much longer, you know, in other seasons. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they've gone a lot longer than that. But they, you know, like just everyone was out within like 2-3 minutes. Felt like for the most part, like they most people couldn't handle it at all. You know.
Well, the first point I want to make is that they, first of all, the rock draw was like perfect split in my opinion, right? It was just like it was a mix of both. Like it wasn't like one was powerhouse than the other. Obviously it was like 3-1, I guess, in terms of red over blue at one point, but it still seemed like it was like, you know, like Emily dropped and then Julie dropped from each team, right?
The final three were D, Katura, and Kelly. So like,
yeah,
I mean,
and Katura did not seem like she had good positioning, if you will, right? D looked like she was locked in. It looked like she actually was like using her legs to like basically put the force on her butt and basically pin herself against the pole almost in a sense, right? She was like leaning back almost, right? where everyone was trying to use their and she was talking about her toes, like she has that big toes or whatever, right? Big toes, if you will. But Kelly looked like she was just fighting through it. Like she didn't Dee didn't show any real emotion.
Well, once I think because Kelly won so early, I just think she was mentally she gave up before Dee. She pushed, but she was right when she found out she won, she was like, "Oh, good," I don't really care if I eat. You could see it in her mental process, but she's like, "I can't look bad. I can't just drop, so I have to try here." And she did try. I'm not saying she didn't, but Dee was a lot more motivated, I thought, because she still had to beat Katura and Caleb and a few other players. And so once she got to having the showdown against Kelly, I think she just kind of pushed through and did her best on that one. So, it was nice to see.
You think you're right. No, the space, not the spacing, it looked like all the notches were the same size. Is that correct? It didn't look like it was getting harder as it went down or easier. Because I was looking for that. I was trying to figure out if that's because how sometimes they'll do they obviously it wasn't part of this challenge, but they'll do at this mark, you have to move to the smaller, standing platform, if you will, right, or whatever, right? So I was looking for that to see if that was a part of it, but no, this was a classic, very simple, in terms of what you have to do. Obviously, not easy to do, but I always like the endurance challenges. I don't know how many they're going to do for the immunities this year, because they got to throw some physical ones, then I would think, or somewhat physical. They'll obviously have a puzzle or two, but it's nice to see kind of them getting off on the individual note, not only in a two-group situation where there's two immunity idols and two people are going home, one's jury, one's not. They get reward. It felt like there was a lot riding on this challenge.
Yeah, I agree, because what we ended up with was two groups pushing for it. And welcome into the studio, Super Mater Bro co-host Jaemeel Robinson. Jaemeel, what did you make of tonight's episode? Was it everything you hoped for?
The first 20 minutes that I actually watched of it, it was fine. Everything else, I have no clue, because I have yet to actually see the episode.
Oh, okay. So do you know who got voted out? Do you want to know?
Not a clue.
Do you want to know?
I'm on this show, so I might as well.
Okay, so have you got to the immunity challenge yet?
I got to just after, Katie was at the well, talking with
Bruce.
No, not after she had a conversation with Bruce. She was at the well talking with not Jacob. What was his name? Dave has him, and they were going to talk to Bruce about working with Caleb. That's how far I got.
Oh, okay. So we were just breaking down the immunity challenge, and the immunity challenge basically is hold yourself up on a pole, but they divided them into two groups, red team and a blue team. 6 and 6?
Yeah, 6 and 6.
Right. So there's 12 players left right now.
I thought I would fix the background.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the background. That's what I just gotta say this, Jaemeel.
If I'm going out of this game, that stabs me right through the heart.
Here's the thing. Okay, so they're holding so they divided into two groups. The red team and the blue team in the holding up on the pole challenge. We were just talking about it, and basically they lasted 17 minutes or something. It was pretty weak sauce. Really, when I think about back to previous iterations of the challenge,
okay. Jeff, at this point, I think they're purposely doing it that way. They're doing something to these challenges because they don't want people were lasting too long on these endurance challenges, and they're like, no, we're not having it. So either these people suck,
right,
or they're doing something to these games to make it we want this to be quick and easy to think, because we want to spend the rest of the time with people, talking about football tackles that we got for some strange reason for 2 minutes.
Well, you know, that's a good point. I do think maybe like the pole was thinner than it. I feel like it used to be a little bit thicker, so they have probably had a bit more ability for leverage and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that was why. So basically, the short end of it is D ends up winning immunity on the red team, and Kelly wins the immunity on the blue team.
Congratulations, Sam.
Yeah, so I also said that Sam's girlfriend won, so that's a win.
Sam was enjoying this episode because he got to see Kelly on a pole.
Right. And hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and what also happened was D ended up in a showdown against Kelly for which color won a taco reward. And they all went, oh, tacos, you know. So, you know, they had that, you know, going for them. I was good. It was okay. It was actually probably the most memorable part of the episode for me was the challenge, which I rarely ever say. Which that's how little I didn't really like the second half of the episode. But Josh, what did you like? What happens right after the immunity challenge? Don't we have the one side's eating, and they're talking. That's like seafood. Like what are the six? Sorry, it was Sifu. It was it Drew,
D, Austin, and Julie,
and Katura.
Katura.
Yeah, that was one. That was the red side, and the blue side was Caleb, Jake, and then we had
Emily and Bruce.
No, Emily and Bruce were on the other side, weren't they?
No,
yeah. Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, I feel like Emily. I can't believe I messed this up. I feel like Emily was on the red side and Julie was on the blue side. We messed that up.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, so it was Julie, Bruce, Caleb, Jake, Katura. No wait, I don't know. Now I've lost it. I've lost the script.
I think Julie was on the red side with D.
Yes, she was with Austin, right? Because it was and then the other, and so that was the side that was the side that ended up voting out. Spoilers for you, Jaemeel. Caleb. So that had Caleb, Jake, and Katura with D, Austin, and Julie. That was one of the six. And so the whole episode they're teasing us, Jaemeel, that this is going to go to rocks, that this is going to be a 3-3 tie. Katura is going to get roped in with Jake and Caleb because Jake doesn't want to get rid of Caleb. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so he wants to keep him as a shield, and we were kind of talking about that before with me and Josh. What do you make of this? Like everyone's looking for that person's a bigger threat, so we got to keep that person. What do you make of that strategy here at this point in the pre-merge / merge?
Okay, the thought process, the worry is there's two things you have to worry about. Is someone going to go on a run? And two, do you have the numbers? And I don't necessarily think that Caleb's the type of person that's going to go on a run. He's never given me that type of vibe at all, nor has he been more dominant in challenges more than, let's say, an Austin has been, right? So... but
he's a threat, like socially.
Is he though? Like he
right.
smiles so much. I'm sorry. He should scowl every so often or annoy people like Bruce. Bruce is a different thing altogether. I feel like if you stick out too much, you're gonna get hammered down, right? In a positive way. And Caleb was too positive. That was his fault. Right?
Yeah, I think that. Well, I do think there is something to that because the whole episode was basically a juxtaposition between Bruce and Caleb. Caleb was, you're right, the nice. He's smiling, everybody likes him, but looks at him as a big threat. Bruce is like this infuriating ally that everybody just can't stand, but wants to vote out, but goes, no, that's stupid. We shouldn't vote him out because nobody likes him. You know, and like that's kind of what ends up happening here at the merge. A lot of the times is like everyone goes, we should get the threat out, and everyone's like, yeah. You know, but then they're like, this guy's super annoying. We should get him out. It's like, well, no, let's get the threat out instead of the guy that's super annoying.
the only worry about getting rid of not getting rid of the person who's annoying is that sooner down the line, especially these people who aren't threats, there's going to be a decision made where it's going to be like, am I going to take the person I can beat, i.e., people don't like, versus an ally, right? And all these D's and Kellys who are not going to be dominant in challenges and seemingly right now isn't in the A1 position in terms of controlling a group. You're going to be competing with Bruce in a couple of episodes to stay in the game because they're going to say, I can get rid of my ally or I can take the person I can beat and Bruce that no one's going to vote for. And that's why sometimes it's better to vote out the person that you know is going to be the perfect GOAT because, you know, you want to have that ability to just in case be that GOAT if things don't pan out for you.
Okay, Josh, you know, dovetailing off that, how likely do you think Bruce sits in the final three? What do you got? 50%, 60%?
Oh, well, you know what? No, it just got me thinking because Jaemeel's got a good point, right? And I think that I'd like to think that he's not going to make it to final three because I don't think that everyone's gonna or people aren't gonna put up with him for that long, aren't gonna last long enough. I don't think he's gonna get to final three, where he's probably more valuable to like a Kelly or a Kendra or even like maybe even like someone like a Drew, where I think Bruce is gonna have a more valuable as a vote rather than a person at the end, even though he is beatable.
I'm gonna go 85%. He sits in the final three.
Yeah, I know I didn't give a percentage, but yeah, I couldn't crunch the number you just did, Jeff.
People didn't like Gabler.
No,
like we were thinking, hey, Gabler, like this dude is a GOAT, and like there's something charming about this annoying fool, especially when the jury is away from him. They're not on the beach with him. They're in Ponderosa for days away from it. You know, they get distance away from him. It's like, he wasn't that bad. I don't have to spend time with him anymore. Right.
And I think there's a point to that too, Jaemeel, that I think in this new version of 26 days or whatever it is of Survivor, I feel like that people vote for the person rather than the player now. They used to vote a lot more, in my opinion, for the player after 39 days. But now I think that it's like, who made me laugh during like the final tribal? Who's endearing? You know, like that is a lot, becomes way more in focus. Whereas I think after 39 days, everyone focused on like, what did you do? How many idols did you play? And how many people did you backstab? Like that was way more in focus. Now I do think people like look at, and we heard tonight, like from Kelly, she was like, he's infuriating as a player, but he, you know, I like him as a person. She said about Bruce, you know, so I think that there might be something to that Bruce might get to the end and also might get votes.
Yeah. And look, they have a short period of time with these people because of how the game is played. 39 days with someone that you don't like, you're like, I hate this person and I never want to see this person again. There's no way I'm giving this person money so that anytime they bring up this season, they show his face. I don't want to see it. Half that time, you're like, yeah, you know, I haven't hit my tipping point yet. Plus, I'm away at Ponderosa. There's more time. There's more time away from the person more than ever. Right?
Well, okay, but strategy-wise, all right, tonight we found out last episode that Bruce has an idol. He found that idol digging around or whatever, right? So the thing is, the strategy-wise, like there's a scene where like Kendra, Sifu, Emily, and Kendra, sorry, I said the Kendra twice. And Drew are all talking to each other, right? And so Kelly and Bruce aren't there. This is after Kelly's won the idol, the immunity idol, the immunity necklace. Anyway, I'm like, why are these four people not just voting at Bruce? Like, and like, yeah, like Kendra's with them or whatever. Like, she's more with Bruce and Kelly than she is with the other three. But like you could tell, you could see it rattling around in her head the whole episode. Like, I should vote out Bruce. I really should vote out Bruce. But the thing is, he had an idol and he could play his idol, and then she was worried that she would go home. So there was all that kind of stuff going on in her head. But like at the same time, like, just make sure there's not a vote on you. And you kind of had Kelly. Like, you could have convinced her, I think. But Kelly kind of controlled this vote, I felt like, and it was all because of this idol. And then Bruce smartly did not play it. And you'll see when you get to it, Jaemeel, like, Bruce kind of, like, as much as he's kind of the bumbling fool, like, he's actually kind of like, and he's so overconfident, and you're like, you don't really know what you're doing. He's kind of making some correct moves every now and again, and I'm like, okay, this is weird,
Look, teammates could cover up a lot, and all you need is a couple good swings of the bat, right? And you're on the board, right? Your team's on the board, so that doesn't surprise me. So wait, there were 2 tribal councils, correct?
That's right. Yes. Yes. Half an hour of the show was just pure tribal council.
Who was the second person voted out?
And you know what they say, Jaemeel? There's only one play to play Survivor.
I agree with you. That's the only way to play Survivor, is full tilt boogie every single second of every single day.
Full tilt boogie.
That's right. Full tilt boogie.
I love the response of just repeating it back. Like, this is absurd. I'm just going to repeat it again.
Yeah, he's kind of like, whoa, I can't believe you went there. Usually, full tilt boogie.
Full tilt.
Full tilt he took from Colby. He always said that. Full tilt.
Yeah.
You gotta go full tilt. Okay, so
Second person.
Second person voted out.
Who was it?
Oh, sorry. All right, let's talk a little bit about the other tribal council here, which is the tribal council to me that was like, okay, we didn't actually finish. We didn't eulogize Sifu. Sorry, we gotta eulogize Sifu. Sifu. He
voted out?
He's got voted out in the first tribal council, and why he went home too was because the blue team, which he was on, lost. Kelly lost the showdown to in the immunity challenge. So they had to go to the tribal council first, and get this twist, Jaemeel. Sifu's not on the jury.
Oh, really? So Caleb is.
Yes, but Caleb is.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
He lost that money.
Oh, yeah. And there's a confessional with Sifu where he says, one of my dreams was to make the jury. I was like, who has the dream of making the jury? I was watching,
Well, I guess it's kind of realistic. You don't think you're going to win Survivor, but like, all I need to do is get on the jury phase and I'm at least respectable. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, he was pre-jury. Like, forget about this dude. Right?
Well,
I want that extended vacation.
Well, that's what I thought about too. Like, I was like, you know what? That's pretty nice. You get voted at first, like Caleb, right? Like, he gets to go to Ponderosa and just watch everyone, give him hugs. He gets to eat pizza and have some beers and watch the sunsets. Like, it can't be a bad life.
Hey, you get your own personal chef. Come on.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good life. Like, yeah, it's much better than like, here's your plane ticket. See you later.
Yeah. Go back and watch the show. You don't even see who wins.
Sifu, I just don't think he brought enough to the show as a character. He had all this promise of, he's like, I'm this Tai Chi, kung fu master guy that's like gonna hunt for idols and build shacks. I'm gonna be like Tony. I don't think he really brought much to the show.
It didn't seem like there was a lot of strategic play by him. It was more about his personality that we saw.
Yeah, and even when like he kind of knew he was going home, there's a confession, the same confessional he kind of like talks about where he didn't want, like, he knew, I feel like well before tribal that he was getting voted out. And it's just like, I just don't think he had like a lot of fight in him. Like, it was kind of like in Big Brother when they tell them they're voting out, and then it's just, well, I'm not even going to campaign. Like, it's kind of what happened. I felt like it was just like he kind of just took it, because the other option was Bruce, right, on that vote. So it's like, I mean, yeah, he could have turned that vote. I feel like if he had just kind of said the right things or found out the right information and used it against
Or
Bruce.
just push. We just had a prime example of Caleb, him pushing, last week. Like, don't give up. He could have been pre-jury, right? Jay could have been in the position that Caleb is in now, and the first person voted out. But instead, Caleb is, the first member of the jury, right? Because he pushed. He had a little bit of luck, and he was able to get some contact on that ball and hit a home run.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He earned that first jury seat a lot more than Seafood did. Could you say I'm annoyed?
Are you annoyed?
Absolutely.
But I'm not. But Carolyn's pissed.
Yes, I can understand. So,
okay, so all right. So what do we make? All right, let's talk a little bit, Josh. What do you make of Jake's his whole plan here tonight, where he was trying to get Katurah to flip her vote to go to a 3-3 tie with Caleb against Austin, D, and who was the third person? Julie. What did you make of that strategy? Did you think that was a good idea? Do you think he should have just laid low? I don't know if it was right to try to make the move, especially to stick your neck out. Now he's a target, don't you think?
I think he's definitely on the outs. Obviously they're going to get back together as the whole group, but they're going to he owned it right away, right? And he said, Jaemeel, I know you didn't see it, but as soon as the vote went down and Caleb was voted out, he said to Julie, I was the one who voted you, we'll talk, right? Because there was 2 against Julie, and that was Caleb and Jake. Katurah, the way that the episode was going, it looked like they were swaying her and that it was a lock 3 against 3, right? And the way that Jake described it seemed like it was going to happen. Obviously, that's what he thought was going to happen. That's obviously not what happened. But he's definitely a target now because his plan didn't work out. And I think that with Jake in his confessional, he was like, I want to play Survivor, right? I think rather than people tell me what to do, hey, Jeff? And he kind of he didn't have the numbers he thought he could, and it was once again it wasn't even have the numbers. He was betting on a tie and going and convincing Austin at the tribal to flip on Julie, which I don't know what happened.
Which makes no sense. On if there's six people voting, right, and you go to rocks, that means you personally have a 25% chance of pulling the wrong rock, right? Because there's 4 people, right?
That's right.
Right, 4 people remaining because the other 2 are safe.
3 because there's also immunity.
So even less than.
Yeah,
even less than that.
It's a 33.3% chance.
You would not, and so you as a person who is voting, right? If it's 2 people, right, that are voting, right, that you're trying to convince, that means let's you team up with someone, and you're both betting that your 2 votes. No, you don't. No, you don't go to the rocks. Especially in that case, it's too. The odds are too bad. No, you don't.
Did that prove that Katurah is the smarter lawyer than Jake? Because she threw some digs at him.
Jake is a new lawyer.
He's a new public defendant lawyer. He hasn't learned the ropes.
He's a baby lawyer.
Would you want your public defender to go all in terms of you in a potential life sentence?
I think it depends. Yeah, but usually no. Yeah, you would rather use the Katurah method. You take the deal, you get the absolute security, immunity, or whatever. But if you're guilty. You might want to go all in. You're gonna lose either way. So maybe that's but that's the mindset of the public defendant lawyer. Maybe.
Jeez. Why?
Why not?
Lord.
I had to get Felicia. Getting some
Oh my gosh. Spoiler alert, folks, for tomorrow. It's going to be painful for me. It's going to be painful. Oh, Lord.
Oh, you should just listen to
From
Julie.
outside the Big Brother house, I'm Julie Chen Boonvez. Love one another. Good night.
Good night. Okay. Yeah, so with Katura, it's just like, yeah, like it made no sense. Like I was so like watching Jake and I'm like, this guy sucks. I mean, he has like the right idea, but the worst absolute execution possible. You don't do that unless you're 3 strong.
Yeah.
You know, like you basically have to have your number 1 ally with you. You know, which I don't know who that would be for. Would it be Kendra? Well, you know, who would that be for Jake? And even then, I think Kendra would have flopped on him.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't see like in what world that made sense for Jake to do. But I digress.
Could have convinced like the other people's like, hey, next immunity, we're voting out Bruce.
Yeah.
Like, just give us this one. Save Caleb. We need to get Bruce out, please. We want to get Bruce out this week.
Well, yeah, and there was a moment in this episode where Jake spills the beans to Katura that Bruce has the idol because Caleb tells her that first.
Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of like a pivotal moment within the episode where Katura was like, well, I'm pissed now because I thought I was working with you guys and you guys are keeping this information from me. So like that was
of all people, Caleb to give that information.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I you know, Josh, like, what do you like? I mean, I think Katura had no choice but to, you know, I'm not taking a 33% chance on saving Caleb. Makes no sense.
Yeah, she saw the kind of writing on the wall, and like you said, Jaemeel, like you need a 3 strong, and she was the piece to be 3 strong, whereas the other side, which was Kelly, Bruce, and Kendra, they were more secure. Even there was visible cracks with Bruce tonight. Well, we've seen it before, but Katura made the safe bet, Jeff, like you said. Like she didn't want to take the chance. And she thought that, you know, just to move forward in the game, even though I kind of made this kind of connection with Caleb in this, at least in this episode, it's not going to get me farther in the game.
Oh, it could have got her vote out that night, you know, like actually not even just voted out, but like even like then you could see the thing is she could have tried it on the first vote and then on the revote just voted the other way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like she could have tried it. You know, she just wasn't even willing to try it, you know, because you get the revote, you know, so yeah, whatever, you know. You know, Caleb, you know, if he was such a good social player, he would have got one of those other 3 players to swap their vote, but
very true.
He couldn't do that, you know, because it was D, it was Austin, and it was Julie, and they were 3, you know, whatever red team.
Austin has no incentive to keep Caleb at all.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Actually, Caleb's probably his biggest threat, you know.
Yeah.
Especially in challenges down the stretch, you know. You probably want to take that player out. So that made sense. Josh, is there anything I've missed that we haven't brought up as far as the episode goes?
I don't think so. Like it seemed like once again, like on the blue side, it was, you know, between Bruce and Caleb, and
no, Bruce and Sifu.
Bruce and Sifu. Sorry, thank you. And the other side was Julie and so now I just got the names mixed up again.
And Bruce, Julie and Caleb. Sorry,
Julie and Caleb. Yeah. So, but once again, like I don't think like last week was like other than Jake making that vote for Julie, I don't think there's going to be a lot of fallout from these 2 votes. Like Sifu was kind of the default vote, like kind of made less like no waves in a sense. And like I said, the only aftermath of Caleb is like Jake's vote for Julie, I think, right? So it's going to be interesting because there's not going to be, I don't think, a lot of turmoil going back to the full group of now 10. But I think that there's still that Reva and Bello side, regardless of Sifu going home for Reva because he wasn't really that strong with those other 4. And Uh,
with Caleb gone.
and Caleb was with Lulu, right? So it's only
Yeah.
Emily now. It's kind of in the middle now, right? So I think Emily is safe for a little bit longer at least, because I think it's going to be Reba versus Bello.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is like how long does Emily last? And I guess you know what, she might either,
She's to the end of the game. She's my only chance now.
she's gonna. You know what? I think she'll be good in the jury.
I think so too.
You know, because I don't think she'll get to the end of the game. But if she could give us some spicy jury moments, so I'm here for that.
So, Jeff, I don't know if you were here when I talked about Emily. You know, one of the main things that got motivated Emily to get on this, get on Survivor.
Yeah, you said
This
she hated somebody or something like that, or
She did not like the fact that Gabler won.
like
at all.
Caleb. Right.
So if I heard that and I correlate Gabler's performance to somewhat like Bruce,
Yeah.
not to say that they're 1-to-1, but like that dynamic, I'm like, oh, this is even more reason for me to keep Bruce, and I need to get Emily to at least the jury because she's not going to put up with any votes going towards Bruce at all.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see if, like, yeah, because they're kind of, you're right, they're kind of the similar archetype of the older guy, the bumbling fool, people think is, you know, difficult to work with, and kind of gets to the end and then kind of has the ability to charm. Because I think Bruce does have that ability. He has a charming quality to him. You know, he drives most people nuts, but I think that's gonna. He's condescending. Like the conversation that did you see the conversation that he had
Yes,
with
with
Caleb?
Jacob. Caleb, yeah, Caleb.
Oh
yeah,
my
Caleb.
god, it was like the most painful thing. Like, and then there's another one with Kelly where she's trying to tell him, like, look, you need to, like, you know, calm down, relax. We need to, like, you know, and then he's like, well, I'm calm. Like, you know, like he completely like just goes, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know, he's just completely like dismissive, doesn't get, you know, I'm right. No, that's not the way things are. So yeah.
With Caleb, he was talking about his son.
Yeah.
His son, the quarterback. You could just see Jacob, like Caleb's. I don't know what you call him, Jacob. Caleb's like facial reaction, where he's like, his eyes keep darting to the side, like, "Oh my gosh, are you for real?" Like, it's so absurd.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I don't know how I made it 28 years without Bruce's advice, but you know, it's like somehow I did it, which is a good line. I enjoyed that. You know, so like, yeah, that's the thing with Bruce is that, you know, he kind of comes off like yeah, he's not listening to anybody, but that's working for him. That's what's hilarious about Survivor sometimes.
Yeah, he has that Ana Lucia type of heat. All right, so let's see if he can keep it in check. If he can keep it in check, like that was her only thing. She went too far near the end, and people were like, I just can't deal with her. And that was 39 days. I think he can do it. I think he could be dragged to the end. And who knows what with fire, if he ends up making fire and people respect him for it.
Yeah, and he's just that's what happened with Gabler, is that he charmed everybody in the final tribal. Like I was saying to Josh, like I think that's kind of what determines this new version of Survivor is, like, you know, you get to the end and you can kind of charm your way in that final tribal, and then people respect that. They don't really think about the game, because how could you know, it's like it's too fast now. You know, there's not enough time.
You didn't spend time with a good portion of people before we emerged, right?
Yeah, it's a mistake. Like even like tonight, like you saw on the vote, like where I think it was, I forget who said it. I think it was Katura, or it was Kendra. Sorry, it was Kendra, and said like I haven't hung out with these three people at all. You know, like I just met them. So like, yeah, like I get that's kind of why you're getting these kind of votes too, where everyone's like, no, I'm voting with my old tribe. You know, which I don't think we want a lot of the time.
We want voting blocks.
We want voting blocks, but you do kind of want it like for the first vote. But I want a big, like this would have been a much better big tribal council episode, and I really don't like when they split them up, because when they do the merge tribal, I think the best ones of all time are always the ones where they have big tribals and it's close. So it's like a 6-7 vote or it's a 6-6 vote. It's a good tie. Like that happened in Cagayan, like where Chaos Cast, like, changed their vote and betrayed, Alpha Cicera. And, so like, I do think that there's good. I think they do this because they think if the interdynamics work better and stuff, and there's more chances for like a big like twist or a vote. But I don't know. I think it's kind of better when they do like a bigger tribal. But that's just me.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I guess it depends on the circumstance, and you never know like how it's gonna go once it gets there. Okay. So for the most part, I think we talked about the majority of this episode. I don't really have anything else to say about it. Do you, Josh?
No, I think that we pretty much covered everything for this double vote out episode.
Oh, Lord. Well, at least I was wrong. I said it was going to be one male, one female, so I was wrong from last episode.
Yeah, it was 2 women winning the immunity, and it was 2 men getting voted out.
Yeah.
It was unconventional.
Yeah.
But you know what? The men, usually the strong men, usually get voted out early at the merge. And that's kind of what happened, I guess. Sifu's not a strong male, I guess, that much. But definitely Caleb was.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, so that's it for this episode. Should we plug some of the other things that are here on the United Federation of Podcasts?
We can. You can always go to see our content at ufpodcast.com.
That's right.
Yes. We have such shows like KBBL, currently on hiatus, but I still keep bringing it up because I love that show. It is a Simpsons recap show that didn't get past the first season, I believe, but still, it's worthwhile to go back and watch those old episodes, listen to those old episodes, and watch the old episodes too. We the X-rated, the X-Men animated, television show podcast review. They finished the complete X-Men animated series just yesterday. They did their series retrospective, so that is complete. So they have some interviews that are going to be coming your way, as well as some movie reviews. They're going to start doing X-Men movie reviews. I believe next week is the one I'm looking forward to because I'm going to be on it, which is the Generation X TV movie review. And spoiler alert, I'm a huge fan of it.
Okay.
Next one is Hold Up. It's the movie review podcast. So they take 3 movies and they all watch them with a guest, and they determine if they hold up. This week, next week's episode is based upon radio, and I know 2 of the movies. One is Pontypool, and the other one is Airheads with Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler. So that one's a great one.
They should do Pirate Radio.
Pirate Radio, or The Boat That Rocked.
Yeah, The Boat That Rocked. Yeah,
it's The Boat That Rocked. Then there's the Graphic Histories with André Myette. André Myette does the X-Men animated series with Davan Skelhorn, and Graphic Histories is Andre's baby. He interviews individuals who are not just in the comic medium, but also various artists, animators, filmmakers, actors, even podcasters as well. A great interviewer. Graphic Histories, you should definitely check it out. Then there's the Hellbound podcast with our very own Michael Chan, who's on the Popularity Papers television show program. You should check that out, as well as Alex Blackburn. And it is a movie review podcast about horror movies. It's audio only. You should definitely check it out. So the Hellbound podcast. Eamon on Track. Eamon reviews entire album and with a guest, and they have different themes. And next, I believe the one most recently, I think it was filming done tonight or yesterday, was on Black Sabbath. I don't know which album, with Benny, friend of the podcast, Benny. Right?
Nice.
So check that out. And then we have the God, I hate this title. the Mary Mater Marvel Society, where we review Marvel movies and content. So it's Dave, Davan, and myself. We're going to be doing the Marvels and Loki, not necessarily in that order. I believe we're going to do Loki on Friday, and then the Marvels sometime this weekend. So definitely check that out. It's going to be on this channel, Super Mater Brothers. And then there's also Trivial Debates. Trivial Debates, next episode is on Sunday. I believe it is the Transformers episode, where 3 contestants present their opinions and debate on questions surrounding television, movies, music, history, and the dreaded wild card questions. So the theme, I believe, is Transformers. So if you have the touch, you got the power. Tune in on Sundays to that episode of Trivial Debates.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jaemeel, for that rundown of all we have to offer here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
Yep.
So for all of us here at Super Mater Bros Podcast, Jeff Mater, Jaemeel Robinson, and Josh Foster, we thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the flip side.
See you on the flip side.
Stop. Why?